From passengers in the back seat who turn out to be skeletons, to drivers who think that they're much more scarier than you can imagine. Here are 3 scary, true Uber horror stories. Number 3. The passenger in the back seat. It was a Friday night and Chelsea wanted to get some food at this place called Fat Sal's Pizza. This is like a late-night pizza place that is open until 4 a.m. She went with her 2 girlfriends, but it was really hard to find parking, so one of her friends suggested getting an Uber so that they didn't have to circle the block for more than 20 minutes trying to find somewhere to park. They were seated in the car, and within seconds the driver had arrived. He seemed nice enough, just a little bit creepy. But he was driving them to a place where they could get some pizza, so they decided to let it slide. Still, Chelsea couldn't help but feel uneasy about him. When they got to Fat Sal's, the driver came around to the back seat to get their money. And when he did, Chelsea saw something that made her blood run cold. The driver turned his head towards her and she noticed that he had no face. Well, not a real one anyway. His face was pale white and stretched out, almost like a mannequin's. But then she noticed something else. His eyes were completely black. There was nothing there. She screamed and threw up in the back seat of the car. The girls quickly paid the driver and ran out of there without even getting their food. To this day, Chelsea still doesn't know what the heck that driver's face was all about, or why he didn't have any eyes. If you ask me, he was probably just high as a kite. But hey, who knows? Maybe he was actually a creepy creature from another dimension that feeds on human flesh. No. 2. A terrifying discovery. An Uber driver picked up a young woman named Amelia from a bar. She had been drinking, but only a couple of beers, so she knew that she was fine to drive. Plus, the ride was only 5 minutes, so she thought that it would be no problem. However, halfway through the ride, she noticed that something wasn't right. The driver kept going straight when he should have turned onto her street. He also kept looking at her in the rearview mirror, which creeped her out. She asked him how much longer until they got there, but instead of answering, the driver turned around and said to her, "Where do you want to go?" Confused, Amelia told him about her street, but the driver just smiled at her and continued to drive straight ahead. Then it hit her. This guy wasn't taking her home. He was trying to kidnap her. Thinking fast, she opened the door and jumped out of the car. As the car sped away, she noticed something that made her heart sink. In the back seat of the car, slumped over like a rag doll, was another woman. But when she looked closer, she realized that the woman was actually a mannequin. It seemed that the driver had tried to kidnap someone before. But why did he pick her up in the first place? Maybe he was just looking for someone to talk to. Most people are just lonely, you know? Okay, that was definitely creepy. But sometimes you'll find a different kind of creep in your Uber, like this next driver. Number 1, never get in a fight with your Uber driver. One fateful day in September of 2017, 28-year-old Sarah decided to get a ride-sharing service to take her to work. But when the driver got out of his car to greet her, she knew that she was in trouble. The man was tall and skinny and wore a black hoodie. He reminded Sarah of the Slender Man, a creepy internet character that stalks and kills people. She got into the car and immediately felt tense. Then the driver did something that made her blood run cold. He took out his phone and started watching something on it while he was driving. Yes, the guy was watching a video on his phone while he was supposed to be paying attention to the road. At this point, Sarah was ready to get out of the car and cancel the ride, but she figured that it was too late for that. All she could do now was hope that she got to work in one piece. But then, the driver did something that pushed her over the edge. He suddenly slammed on the brakes and turned the car around. Sarah fell forward in her seat and hit her head on the dashboard. "What the hell?" she yelled at the driver. He responded by saying, "You need to get out of my car." Startled, Sarah opened the door and got out of the car, but then the driver started yelling at her. He was cursing at her and telling her to get back in the car, but Sarah refused. She told him that he was a maniac and that he needed to calm down. That's when the driver did something truly terrifying. He lunged out of the car and grabbed Sarah by the collar of her shirt. "Get back in the car, you B-word," he yelled at her. Terrified, Sarah slapped the driver across the face. The driver was stunned by this and he immediately backed off of her. Sarah took this chance to run away, and she didn't stop running until she got to work. She later found out that the driver had been fired by the company after a number of complaints. But to this day, she still has nightmares about the incident. You never know what kind of maniacs you'll find on Uber, but most Uber horror stories don't involve crazed killers. Check out 3 scary Uber passenger stories if you want to hear about those. Or watch 6 terrifying rideshare stories for more terrifying tales of Uber horror.